jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Irene, what's going on, girl?
Send these killer cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system
is guilty as hell.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
And when do we want it?
Now.
My friends, my name is Sean Blackman, and I'm here with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and we are here tonight demanding justice in yet another racist police killing, this time in Memphis, Tennessee. The victim, a 29-year-old black man named Tyree Nichols. This man was a father, he was a son, he was a worker, he was a human being. And now he's been taken, stolen from his family, stolen from his community, stolen from everyone who ever cared about him because of the racist police system here in the United States. And there's something that I want to speak to right away, because as we know, the killer cops in this case were all black. And people see that and say, well, how can you claim this is a racist police killing if the killer cops are black? The reason why this is still a racist police killing, despite the black officers, is because policing as an institution in the United States is inherently racist. It is inherently a white supremacist institution. The police in the United States literally emerged from slavery itself. So from the very beginning, the police have been tasked with surveilling, tracking, harassing, brutalizing, and killing black people and poor working and oppressed people in this country. That has always been their reason for existence. And so we always have to remember the racist character of the police as an institution. Y'all remember Freddie Gray? Another victim, someone who was brutalized to death by police in Baltimore. There were 6 officers involved in the involved in the death of Freddie Gray. 3 of them white, 3 of them black. All of them got off scot-free. Why? Because they had served their purpose to this system and to this society. But then that brings us to a question of, well, what role do police play in our society? What's the motto for the police in the United States? They say that they're here to protect and serve, right? And you know, actually, that's true. The police in the United States absolutely protect and serve. But what do they serve? And who? What they serve is the interest of the ruling class. They serve the interest of the wealthy minority whose pockets are filled with money that they stole from us. The money that you and I make by the sweat of our brow, working every day, goes into the pockets of these capitalists. So the police serve their interests, and what they protect is their property. So without question, they serve and protect, but we can never make the mistake of thinking that they serve and protect the interests of poor, working, and oppressed people in the United States. Yep. The police are the armed bodies of the capitalist state. And as such, an important aspect, really a crucial aspect of how they operate is to occupy the communities of poor, working, and oppressed people. So you go to places like Southeast DC, or maybe you go to Northeast, neighborhoods like Deanwood and places like that. These are black working class areas of DC that are under a police occupation. Now, why is that? Because black people are inherently criminal? It's because of the contradictions of this capitalist system that robs people of their humanity, that robs people of resources, that robs people of their ability to make a living wage, or to have health care, or to have quality education for their children, or have quality food to eat, or clean water to drink, or simply the ability to be able to exist without feeling like you're under threat of being struck down by racist police terror. Now, when we look at the issue of racist policing in the United States of America, something that has been characteristic of this country for centuries, we have to take a look at, well, how are those in power responding to this? How are the people that we elected, that make us all those promises, what are they saying about this? Well, you all may remember just last year, President Joe Biden laid out a plan to give $37 billion to law enforcement. Called it the Safer America plan. But yet you think this cat is elected to do something for you? Joe Biden and his ilk, Joe Biden and his class are clear about their attitude towards the police. They need them. They're a part of that wealthy ruling class, right? And so it only makes sense that the Joe Bidens of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world, all these leaders, it only makes sense that they have this deep allegiance to the police. And as such, you and I have to continue to organize a movement to fight racist police terror. Because we know we have no help coming from Joe Biden and the Democrats. We certainly know we don't have any help coming from Donald Trump and the Republicans. They don't even pretend to be your friend. Our problem is we have an enemy that pretends to be our friend. Right? And so, as we move forward, real quick, can we just circle up a little bit here, folks? Bring it in a little bit. Circle up, circle up. Let the circle be unbroken. And so, we have to be clear that the political mainstream in this country, which is also in service to the ruling class, because that's who funded, who owns the Washington Post? Anybody? Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. We're told that we have a free press in this country, but in reality, the vast majority of our media is owned by a handful of corporations. Yes. So make no mistake, what you see on the New York Times or the Washington Post or MSNBC or CNN or Fox News, they have the same class orientation as Joe Biden and as these cops who are mobilized to suppress, brutalize, and kill the members of our class. So you and I have to be very, very clear. And you know, while I was on my way here, I actually saw an article. It was on WUS 9. And it was talking about how the DC police are mobilizing over 3,000 officers tonight. Imagine that. Mobilize, like we did something, like we killed somebody. And it's so strange to me when people talk about peace. And oh, is this going to be a peaceful demonstration? The police killed over 1,100 people last year.
Talk about it. Shame.
1,176, roughly, people killed by the police in 2022. That is the highest number that has been found ever since they've been recording these numbers. But they want to talk to us about peace. You know, that reminds me of 2020. Specifically, June 1st, 2020. What was going on? A man named George Floyd was killed, struck down in an act of racist police terror in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by an officer named Derek Chauvin, right? And there was a rebellion against racism that exploded in the streets of the United States of America. I'm talking about millions of people, many of them for the first time, declaring that they would no longer stand for the racist police terror that happens far too often in this country. So what did the so-called progressive government of DC do? Well, Mayor Muriel Bowser, a so-called progressive, she implemented a curfew. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
She implemented a curfew, and what that did was allow for Donald Trump to mobilize federal troops and other agencies to attack us right here on this square. I was here, and I know some of y'all were as well. But they want to talk to us about peace. Let's think about what happened during 2020, because it is directly connected to what's happening right now. You see, the ruling class in this country, both Democrats and Republicans, tried to crush this movement militarily. They tried to crush the movement for Black Lives violently. And even after all that violence that they carried out against us on June 1st, 2020, pepper spray, rubber bullets, flashbang grenades, did that stop us?
No.
Did we run away and hide because we were scared?
No.
We came back the very next day. This plaza was filled with people, literally throwing up their middle fingers to the White House. This is the kind of movement you and I have built. And see, this is why we have to call out these fake progressives. Because Muriel Bowser has a reputation across the U.S. for supposedly being progressive, particularly since she painted Black Lives Matter on that street that's behind you. Oh man, she even inspired her, fellow Democrats in New York and elsewhere. All around the country, people were painting on the street, right? Here's the thing. Muriel Bowser loves the police. And we know this because she supports the police every single time they brutalize or kill someone. When the DC police killed Raphael Briscoe, Bowser supported them. When they killed Terrence Sterling, she supported them. When they killed Daquan Young, she supported them. When they killed Marquise Austin, she supported them. When they killed Karan Hilton, she supported them. When they killed Jeffrey Price, she supported them. Matter of fact, back in 2020, during that election period, who was she supporting? Mike Bloomberg, a billionaire who was the mayor of New York City, who is best known for carrying through stop and frisk, this brutally, viciously violent and racist tactic of policing.
Shame on him.
You were so-called progressive, but this is what you do. So you see, you and I have no help coming from those elements. None. You can hang it up, man. But that's all right. Because the strongest weapon that a movement has, the strongest weapon that poor, working, and oppressed people have had is organization. And this is the weapon that we must use in the struggle against racist police terror in this country. So you and I have to be very clear about this. And we have to show that we're going to be consistent and firm as we continue to build this movement. Now, people look back to 2020, and some of them look back on it with sadness. They say, oh man, we were in the streets all day, fighting, making it happen, but we don't see those kinds of demonstrations anymore. My friends, this is the nature of movements. They all have peaks and valleys, periods of high activity, periods of low activity. So the question is, what do we do in the meantime when we're not at a peak? What do we do when we're in a valley? We do what we're doing right now. We build. We continue to enrich and embolden our struggle, our movement, and our organizations so that we can be prepared to meet the threat being meted out by this vicious capitalist state. And my friends, ultimately, we have to understand that a police institution that emerges out of this kind of capitalist system, this capitalist system that needs white supremacy to operate, a capitalist system that needs exploitation, oppression to operate, right? A police institution that emerges from a system like that cannot be reformed. The police cannot be reformed. They can't be reformed any more than the capitalist system itself can be reformed.
Right.
And this is the usual ritual, isn't it? Whenever there's an incident of racist police terror, there's a killing, there's resistance, the state comes with some tepid reform, and we're supposed to celebrate, and then it's wash, rinse, and repeat. But you see, my friends, if what we want is a final and conclusive end to racist police terror in the United States, then what you and I have to do is overturn the system that generates this racist police terror.
Yup.
You and I have to fight to overturn this capitalist system.
Yup.
We have to bring in a system whose chief priority is the interest of humanity
Yup.
and not profits. Because under capitalism, the chief priority is not only generating profits, but maximizing profits at any cost, including a human cost. So you and I can never hope to enjoy the fullness of our humanity. We can never hope to live in a world where this kind of violence that has struck down Tyre Nichols in Memphis and so many others, if we want to live in a world without this, then we have to fight for a new society, a new system. We have to fight for socialism.
Right. Yes. Right.
Because a socialist system is one that is specifically tailored to the interest of humanity. It ensures that people have food, clothes, shelter, healthcare, quality education, gainful employment, and a socialist United States would have to completely redefine and restructure now